Good morning and welcome to Mount Vernon Unitarian Church. I am Mimi Stevens, a member of the church and of our climate action team. Today's worship is led by CAT, as it's called, and takes us through time, the foundations of our connection to this land where the church is, the present, and some possible futures. Like ripples in a pond, our ancestors' actions set the stage for us, and ours will carry forward across the future. We gather as Unitarian Universalists to celebrate life and love, to find comfort, and to recommit ourselves to caring for one another on our spiritual journeys. We strive to care for the earth and build the common good. Beloved friends, it is good to be together. We are a community dedicated to welcoming the stranger and working for justice wherever the heavy weight of oppression has dug into the fabric of life. To that effort, we counter the doctrine of discovery by naming and honoring the traditional indigenous inhabitants of this land, the Piscataway, the Powhatan, and the Dogue, also known as Talks. Whether you are new to this community or a longtime member, no matter what influenced you to set aside this time and join us in worship, know that you are welcome here. We are especially welcoming our visitors this morning. You are invited to stay after virtual worship for our social hour. And if you want to be in touch with us, please send us an email to info@mvuc.org. Now I would like to call your attention to a spring tradition at MVUC that has returned in a socially responsible way. The plant sale at our greenhouse will be open on Saturdays and Sundays from now through June 13th, between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Masks, social distancing, and limited outdoor shopping. See the Sunday bulletin for details. As is our custom, please mute your microphone and turn off your camera to allow you to move about freely without distracting others. At the end of the service, after the postlude, we will invite you to turn on your cameras so you can see each other and give a virtual hug and wave. Please wait until you hear the prompt to turn on your cameras. For those who need live transcription, you can click on the button at the bottom of your screen to turn it on. Today, we honor the eternity of time, symbolized by this crystal rock. The crystal was entrusted to us by Shirley Barclay, a Cherokee from South Texas, on April 13th, 1985. She was moved by the loving spirit of our congregation. I invite you now to take a deep breath with me as we enter into this time of worship. Our opening words are by Mary Eads. Like the cosmic dust following after a great Perseid meteor, we are the living remnants of time and all that has come to pass in its wake, briefly shining lights on the way to eternity. We are only visible to the naked eye for an instant. Take this moment to shine like the stardust you are. May the light of our time on earth shine to bless the world and each other. Shine, shine, shine.
Please join us in singing hymn 1064, Blue Boat Home, from your teal hymnal or on your screen.
I invite you now, from wherever you may be, to bring your voices out in reciting our covenant as the words are found on your screen. Love is the teaching of this church. The quest of truth is its daily task, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve life in community, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony. This is our covenant with each and with all.
One plastic bag, Isatu Sise and the Recycling Women of the Gambia. Written by Miranda Paul with illustrations by Elizabeth Zunon. Njau, Gambia. Isatu walks with her chin frozen. Fat raindrops pelt her bare arms. Her face hides in the shadow of a palm leaf basket, and her neck stings with every step. Warm scents of burning wood and bubbling peanut stew drift past. Her village is close now. She lifts her nose to catch the smell. The basket tips. One fruit tumbles, then 2, then 10. The basket breaks. Isatu kicks the dirt. Something silky dances past her eyes, softening her anger. It moves like a flag, flapping in the wind, and settles under a tamarind tree. Isatu slides the strange fabric through her fingers and discovers it can carry things inside. She gathers her fruits in the basket. The basket is useless now. She drops it, knowing it will crumble and mix back in with the dirt. 4 goats greet Isatu as grandmother Mbombe emerges from her kitchen hut. Hurry in before the rain soaks your beautiful mbuba. Isatu scurries in and grandmother serves spicy rice and fish. Rain drums on the creaking aluminum roof. I broke your basket, Isatu confesses, but I found this. Plastic, grandmother frowns. There's more in the city. Day after day, Isatu watches neighbors tote their things in bright blue or black plastic bags. Children slurp water and wanjo from tiny holes poked in clear bags. Market trays fill with minties wrapped in rainbows of plastic. The colors are beautiful, she thinks. She swings her bag high. The handle breaks. 1 paper escapes, then 2, then 10. Isatu shakes sand off her papers. Another plastic bag floats by, and she tucks her things inside. The torn bag is useless now. She drops it to the dirt, as everyone does. There's nowhere else to put it. Day after day, the bag she dropped is still there. 1 plastic bag becomes 2, then 10, then 100. Plastic isn't beautiful anymore, she thinks. Her feet step down a cleaner path, and the thought floats away. Years pass, and Isatu grows into a woman. She barely notices the ugliness growing around her until the ugliness finds its way to her. Isatu hears a goat crying and hurries towards grandmother's house. Why is it tied up? Where are the other goats? Inside, the butcher is speaking. Many goats have been found sick. The plastic bags twist around their insides and the animals cannot survive. Now 3 of your goats and so many other goats in the village have died. Grandmother Mbombe's powerful shoulders sag. Isatu must be strong and do something. But what? Isatu's feet lead her to the old, ugly road. A pile of garbage stands as wide as grandmother's cooking hut. Mosquitoes swarm near dirty pools of water alongside the pile. Smoke from burning plastic stings her nose. Her feet back away. Goats scamper past. They forage through the trash for food. Her feet stop. She knows too much to ignore it now. Holding her breath, she plucks 1 plastic bag from the pile, then 2, then 10, then 100. What can we do? Isatu asks her friends. Let's wash them, says Fatim, pulling out almost soap. Maram grabs a bucket and Incha fetches water from the well. Peggy finds clothespins and they clip the washed bags on the line. As the bags dry, Isatu watches her sister crochet. Can you teach me? Wow, yes. Her sister shows Isatu the stitches, then hands her a metal tool. Isatu's fingers busy themselves. In, out, around. Jedajef, thank you. Isatu finds a broomstick and carves her own tool from its wood. What's that for? Fatim asks. Isatu pauses. She and Peggy have an idea, but will their friends think it's crazy? Will the idea even work? Nervously, she explains the plan. 1 friend agrees to help, then 2, then 5. The women cut bags into strips and roll them into spools of plastic thread. Before long, they teach themselves how to crochet with this thread. Naka lige bi, says grandmother. How was the work? Ndanka, answers Isatu. The people in the village laugh at us. Others call us dirty, but I believe what we are doing is good. The women crochet by candlelight, away from those who mock them. Until a morning comes when they will no longer work in secret. Fingers sore and blistered, Isatu hauls the recycled purses to the city. 1 person laughs at her, then 2, then 10. Then 1 woman lays Dalasi coins on the table. She chooses a purse and shows it to one friend, then two, then 10. Soon everyone wants one. Isa too fills her own purse with thalasi. She zips it shut and rides home to tell grandmother she has made enough to buy a new goat. When she passes by the pile of rubbish, she smiles because it is smaller now. She tells herself, one day it will be gone and my home will be beautiful. And one day it was.
Mount Vernon Unitarian Church continues to share the plate with committed organizations that our members have chosen. For the month of April, we have designated New Hope Housing. Since 1978, New Hope Housing has been providing a comprehensive, innovative array of services to homeless families and single adults. New Hope Housing is the oldest and largest provider of shelter beds in Northern Virginia. Today, as always, we split our offering 50-50 between New Hope Housing and MVUC, unless otherwise directed by you. You are welcome to write a check and mail it to MVUC. You can also make payments via text or our church account via credit card. Information is found on the slide and the chat box. During this time of music, we truly invite you to tenderly name in the chat box or in your heart the joys and sorrows that you hold within you.
When I Am Among the Trees by Mary Oliver. When I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locusts, equally the beech, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment, and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me the trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light flows from their branches. And they call again. "It's simple," they say, "and you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine."
When I am asked what keeps me working for a sustaining and sustainable world, when life at this time seems headed for destruction, I see all around me the unconscious using up and poisoning of the air and water, resources that all living things, from the tiniest microbes to the mightiest elephants, depend on. What keeps me working is, first of all, remembering the beginning. The first people who lived on the land used what they needed to sustain themselves, planting and harvesting in cycles, truly living in interdependent relationship with the natural world they were part of. The gap between humans and nature widened gradually. Remembering the founders of our church, who had moved from cities to the suburbs and had sought to form a liberal church, first meeting in a school, and when they were able, bought the Thorpe estate. 10 acres with trees, boxwood hedges, a greenhouse, a meadow, a view of the Potomac, and green open spaces where all could play and reconnect with nature. They knew they would be stewards of this land, a living testament to the principles of interdependence. They learned from the groundskeeper and from themselves and the land about preserving it. They saw their vision realized, the place growing into not just a physical home, but a spiritual, educational, cultural, living home, where they and their extended families and generations could learn and teach their children about working for a more just and equitable and compassionate world for every living being. One thing that moves me to keep working is honoring their vision. The gifts we have received from the use of the grounds are immeasurable. Holiday celebrations and other events, bonfires, concerts, and plays for the wider community, the storytelling chair and benches among the trees in the boxwoods, the space to build a cob house, to grow vegetables, a co-op nursery, and the memorial walks. The land gives to us, and we in turn give to the land. But I had been living in business as usual mode. Active hope was an awakening, leading me with others to examine feelings of hopelessness when I learned how the practices and systems that humans have established in the name of progress were actually
affecting the balance of the natural order of nature, causing global climate change that is destroying habitats. We were progressing, all right, progressing towards destroying ourselves. Gratitude alone for what we have is not enough. Science tells us people can change their ways to halt and even reverse the destruction. MVUC has demonstrated that. We installed solar panels and a geothermal heating system. We partnered with Fairfax County in a project to reduce our water runoff to the local watershed. As we earned certification by the UU Ministry for Earth as a green sanctuary. The Climate Action Team, formed in 2019, was wholeheartedly embraced by the congregation. And as a community, we are expanding our actions. What moves me to keep working? I have heard the earth crying. It isn't a dream.
From the book Braiding Sweetgrass, Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teachings of Plants by Robin Wall Kimmerer. This excerpt is from An Honorable Harvest, page 189. I've heard it said that sometimes, in return for gifts of the earth, gratitude is enough. It is our uniquely human gift to express thanks because we have the awareness and the collective memory to remember that the world could well be otherwise, less generous than it is. But I think we are called to go beyond cultures of gratitude, to once again become cultures of reciprocity. I met Carol Crow, an Algonquin ecologist, at a meeting on indigenous models of sustainability. She told the story of requesting funding from her tribal council to attend the conference. They asked her, quote, "What is this all about, this notion of sustainability? What are they talking about?" Unquote. She gave them a summary of the standard definitions of sustainable development, including, quote, "the management of natural resources and social institutions in such a manner as to ensure the attainment and continued satisfaction of human needs for present and future generations," unquote. They were quiet for a while, considering. Finally, one elder said, quote, "This sustainable development sounds to me like they just want to be able to keep on taking like they always have. It's always about taking. You go there and tell them that in our way, our first thoughts are not, what can we take, but what can we give to Mother Earth? That's how it's supposed to be," unquote. The Honorable Harvest asks us to give back in reciprocity for what we have been given. Reciprocity helps resolve the moral tension of taking a life by giving in return something of value that sustains the one who sustains us. One of our responsibilities as human people is to find ways to enter into reciprocity with the more than human world. We can do it through gratitude, through ceremony, through land stewardship, science, art, and in everyday acts of practical reverence.
Good morning. I want to talk to you about what inspires me now. In Act of Hope, we have an exercise where we have a conversation with a future being who thanks us for the care and effort we gave to leave them a livable planet. And they ask about our experiences during this time of peril and opportunity and what keeps us going. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. What keeps me going is I've joined a huge movement. All over the world, there are an estimated 1 to 2 million citizen groups working to restore the earth, to clean the air, to preserve water, to educate girls, and so on. People see a need and band together and cooperate. What keeps me going is my own internal world, my deep love of the natural world and sometimes humanity, and my love for my great niece and nephew and my brother's teenage twins. When I think about the world that they're moving into, I feel heat in my heart, and sorrow and fear, and love and determination. When MVUC decided as a congregation in 2019 to focus on the climate crisis, I stepped up. I've been having nightmares for a year about this existential crisis. It's so enormous. And our government leadership at the time was going backwards. But when I could feel people joining in from MVUC, I was strengthened. So much of MVUC stepped up too, to learn about the possibilities of change and committing to greater efforts, personal efforts. Reverend Kate supported us from the pulpit. Reverend Karen helped us organize. Tyler Coles continued to give us deep spiritual messages. And in our first year, we did so much that we earned an award. MVUC earned an award from the from the Faith Alliance for Climate Solutions based in Fairfax. Our church's two-pronged effort has been to learn about what can be done technically, individually, institutionally, and to develop our personal conscious commitment to the change we need. Even during the past year, CAT has been active. For example, we have had many plant-rich diet activities. We planted new trees on the hill. We started the Arts for Mother Earth Google Classroom, the first one ever, and had 2 active Hope study groups, and recycled enough plastic bags to earn a bench. I think what's becoming clear to all of us, though, is that personal change is necessary and not sufficient for the level of societal and political economic change that the earth requires. At our 2021 CAT retreat, I was nourished by the high level of spirit and engagement and by the increased interest in advocacy. I'm also greatly encouraged by what our state is doing and what's happening at the federal level in creating new ways of life. My hope is that with every choice we make, we ask of ourselves and our society, does this create a just, sustainable, and sustaining world? Does it nurture all of life in all of life's forms? As our greatest creativity is called for, we rethink our purpose for our days and how we relate to water, air, mountains, the more than human beings, all other human beings, the future. And we realize that we are in the greatest transformation we can imagine. As we live more into the interdependence of all life, we can be brave and face the outcomes brought about by the colonial and extractive mentality that we inherited. We can face our history as a country which has based its practices on the belief that people of color, Indigenous people, or people in general, are as expendable as our mountaintops. We can practice deeper love by being fueled by our connection to the primal source of life, not to fossil fuels. We can support the rights of nature, not the rights of corporations. How will we answer the call of love for this world? To imagine and create a thriving, sustainable life for all humans and all life on the planet. Will we demand of our corporations and governments the radical actions they need to take and take now? Are we being the best ancestors we can be? Our culture has taught us to look for strength, certainty, comfort, security. And we need to have a purpose and community strong enough to bear the uncertainty and discomforts of reimagining this world. As Tyler Cole said in the Easter service, every end is also a beginning. As our old ways flame out, what are you beginning to feel the pull of love towards more deeply? Because we will end our old ways and co-create new ones. Whatever your level of participation in climate action has been, I am grateful to be with you in this community. Thank you.
To my descendants, we know that there are many threats to our planet, affecting humans and non-humans in myriad ways. It would be easy to throw up our hands in despair, for what can any of us do with so many big issues that need fixing? I am Tamara de la Camp, and I am a member of this congregation. I'd like to start my answer to this question by considering my geographic place on this earth, Alexandria, Virginia. Specifically, consider the Mount Vernon Unitarian Church property. We know that MVUC's property is unique and beautiful. At one of the highest places in the Little Hunting Creek watershed, what we do on our property affects not only our neighbors, but the larger Potomac and Chesapeake Bay watersheds. We are stewards, not just of our property, but of the larger world. Our impact ripples beyond our hill to the larger world. At home, I reflect upon the Green Sanctuary Program, the greenhouse's propagation and sale of native pollinator plants, the geothermal system, solar panels, rain gardens, permeable parking surfaces, composting. These are just a few of the projects that are in place today. And behind every project, there are multiple hardworking visionaries who dreamed it, planned it, and did it. These people are always in my thoughts and continue to inspire a new crop of climate warriors. And speaking of the new crop of climate warriors, the Climate Action Team, led and inspired by Barbara Bacon, Beck Mordini, and others, the Climate Action Team, or CAT, has sparked involvement and imagination of many of us MVUCers. It is estimated that more than 75% of regular churchgoers have participated in one or more CAT activities. Recently, CAT conducted its annual planning meeting online and envisioned a number of exciting projects for the coming year and beyond, from continuing the focus on net zero energy and education initiatives to integrating our work with the exciting climate-related actions going on in our larger community. Not long ago, I listened to Robin Wall Kimmerer's Braiding Sweetgrass and was struck by the concept of reciprocity. Kimmerer reminds us that each person, human or no, is bound to every other in a reciprocal relationship. Just as all beings have a duty to me, I have a duty to them. If an animal gives its life to feed me, I am in turn bound to support its life. If I receive a stream's gift of pure water, then I am responsible for returning a gift in kind. An integral part of a human's education is to know those duties and how to perform them. And reciprocity extends beyond a one-to-one exchange between, for instance, person and plant. In the words of Madrona Holden on her blog, Our Earth, Ourselves, in natural systems, such exchanges take place at the most basic energetic level. An essential law of physics states that, for every action, there will be an equal and opposite reaction. Indigenous characteristically model their economic and social exchanges, as well as their relationships with the natural world, on reciprocity in natural systems. Thus, in thinking about my responsibility towards our larger world, I draw strength from figuring out where I can form those reciprocal relationships with the places and other beings who have given me so much. By giving back to the river, to the forest, to the garden, I exercise my ability to reciprocate. This exercise invigorates and inspires me. Of course, we all know that just focusing on MVUC or our own personal home gardens is good, but not sufficient to tackle worldwide problems, such as global climate change, deforestation, and water pollution. Recalling that concept of reciprocity, I draw strength from the regional, national, and worldwide environmental involvement of MVUC members and friends. As individuals or in groups, we support good causes with our time, talent, and treasure. From Alexandria Families for Safe Streets to Anacostia Riverkeepers to the World Wildlife Fund. We give because we realize what we are getting. We give because we know that the only path forward is reciprocity. We are like waves, rippling into a widening circle of environmental awareness and action. Thank you.
Would you join me in singing number 1074? 1074, Turn the World Around. Words can be found in your hymnal, on the screen, or in your orders of service. We come from the fire, living in the fire. Go back to the fire, turn the world around. We come from the water, living in the water. Go back to the water, turn the world around. We come from the mountain, living on the mountain. Go back to the mountain, turn the world around. Oh, so is life. Ah, so is life. Oh, so is life. Ah, so is life. Do you know who I am? Do I know who you are? See we one another clearly. Do we know who we are? Do you know who I am? Do you know who you are? See one another clearly. Do we know who we are? Do you know who I am? Do you know who you are? See each one another clearly. Do we know who we are? Whoa! So is life a body walk. So is life. Whoa! So is life a body walk. So is life. Water make the river wash the mountain. Fire make the sunlight turn the world around. What is of the river? Body is the mountain. Spirit is the sunlight. Turn the world around. We are of the Spirit, truly of the Spirit. Only can the Spirit turn the world around. Oh, so is life a body walk. So is life. Oh, so is life a body walk. So is life. Whoa, so is life a body walk. So is life. Whoa, so is life a body walk. So is life. Yeah.
Will you join me as we unite our voices to recite the words to extinguish our chalice, words known within our hearts and can be found displayed upon your screen? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Hello, I'm Jill Russo-Downey. The benediction is found in the gray hymnal, reading number 560, Commitment, words by Dorothy Day. People say, what is the sense of our small effort? They cannot see that we must lay one brick at a time, take one step at a time. A pebble cast into a pond causes ripples in all directions. Each one of our thoughts, words, and deeds is like that. No one has a right to sit down and feel hopeless. There's too much work to do.